Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. This is not your first time. Thank you for coming back. So, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical ASF. You're going somewhere magical. I don't know where, but you're definitely going somewhere magical, you know? So be ready for the magic. Oh, it's magic, you know. All right, let me just okay. Let's get these cards ready. Okay, how are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Everyone doing all right? All right. Do 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 do. Okay, guys. All right, let's get cards ready. Oh my god, y'all! Today has been a doozy. Not in a bad way, in a very good way. In a very good way. I feel like I should be singing Disney princess songs. I don't know. I just feel like I do, you know? Okay. All right. I feel like this is going to be a really good reading. Like a really good reading. Oh, okay. Some cards fell out. We're going to leave those out a little bit more. And I'm going to try and remain focused as well as well-behaved today. No petty behaviors, please. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Good behavior. I don't know. Forgive me, guys, for my pettiness over the past few days. I've just, I don't know. I'll behave today, though. All right. So everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical. What have you been doing over the past 3 months or so, or maybe the past year? What did you do in 2022 that can lead you to a space of just extreme thriving, right? What have you been doing? I think it's important. I think part of what this reading is going to be presenting is that it's important to recognize the process that you're in and how much your participation, how much your decisions, your choices are leading to goodness for you, right? Reading that title reminds me of like, you know, what have I been doing over the past couple months? What has it been? Where am I within myself? I know we're entering into a new year, and so it's kind of like we're needing to kind of be aware of what we're exiting out of, what we're consciously choosing to enter into, and really giving ourselves the credit, the appropriate acknowledgement of all of our hard work. Like, you know, I think for many of us, we have a tendency to really not recognize how far we've come, right? Just really, really fail to recognize how much effort we've put into things, and really just allowing ourselves allowing ourselves to move forward in grace, right? To really allow that forward movement. I think because so many of us are so hard on ourselves without realizing how hard we are on ourselves, um, we don't get a chance to celebrate our accomplishments. And because we're not celebrating what we're doing for ourselves, um, or instead, most likely choosing the opposite of celebration, we're most likely instead choosing to take the time to go ahead and tear ourselves down even more, you know? So, just something to think about, okay? Definitely something to think about. Let's get started. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so there were some feelings that you had about yourself, about your life, your journey. Um, at some point, you made a choice to kind of ground yourself more and to enter into a space of elevated self respect, right? You began to try and make some plans, um, maybe some modifications to your lifestyle, dietary preferences, um, maybe actually taking the time to get to understand your health, where you are in that, what types of changes you need, maybe supplements, something like that. I think there was a choice that was made, or at the very least considered. And as you began on that journey, something went upside down. And I think a lot of the times when something goes upside down, it has a tendency to be because we've shared maybe our goal, or our process with someone else, and their input maybe was not solicited, right? Unsolicited input. And what they ended up doing was really, really just affecting the way you see yourself, giving you some of that upside down guidance, causing you to feel as though your efforts are less than what it is, right? Mm, that's kind of upsetting. That's kind of like this feeling of you tried so hard only to have someone that maybe you trusted their opinion. Maybe it's someone who has served that role for you in your life for how long now, where you go to them for their thoughts and their opinions, and you have such respect for them, and they never really take into consideration the gravity of the effect they have on you and your perception of who you are. um, I think maybe for some, this person is aware and they are very irresponsible with the way they harness their influence over you, right? So this is about really, if you're resonating with this and you know who this is in your life, this is really about you realizing, coming to this awareness and this acceptance that it's time to stop giving others your power over yourself. That's hard to do, especially if you've been doing that for so long. Because for most people, most people are overly dependent on the perception of others, how others will receive them, how others will perceive their efforts and their, all of that different stuff, right? Really stepping into this space where you're no longer actively seeking external validation, allowing yourself to find your voice when you speak to yourself, using that voice very responsibly, where you're not tearing yourself down. Instead, you're like, okay, I see the progress. I see what's going on here. It's good. It's good. It's not where I want it yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. And really just, having some fun with yourself, really cultivating the relationship between the self and the soul, cleansing yourself of the toxicity that someone else has injected into your life. Now, we want to be careful about not stepping into this space of thinking we're just a victim. Like, oh, everyone victimizes us. No, No. When you are giving your power to someone else because you're seeking external validation, you made that choice. You gave it to them. And just as easily as you gave it to them, you can also take that power back. You can retract it, and you can reinstate yourself as the utmost authority over your perception, your life, your journey, all of that. Okay. So, really clearing yourself and your environment of the people who have been either overtly or very covertly toxic to you and your growth. Right. I think for many of us, we've been spending quite a few months, if not years, going round and round with this with certain other people. Right. I mean, you can love someone and have them in your life and still not give them the totality of your authority over yourself. You can absolutely love someone wholeheartedly, unconditional love for that person, and not let them have that type of control over you. So everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical. And I think when you get to a point where you're beginning to realize like you've done this for yourself, you're doing this for yourself. And if you push a little bit further, you can really accomplish things. So, like earlier today, so I was at the gym, right? And I've been trying to make it really my main focus every morning is to ensure that I get what I need from the day early in the day. Really stepping into a space of self love, um, acknowledgement of my needs. Like, what do I need today? In the morning when I wake up, like, I have this thought of, do I need to rest today? Do I need to push harder today? What do I need from today versus what I want, right? What I want is to be able to do everything and not be tired and be in excess of energy and all of this crazy ass shit that I really I do that to myself every day. And I'm trying to exit out of that, like consciously exit out of um that like rat race. But here's the thing, there's no other rats in the race but me. It's all these other aspects of me that I'm racing, and it's like, no, we need to pull our parts back together and really begin consciously choosing to exist as a whole person, right? When was the last time you made um, any type of determination of how you are choosing to spend your day? And me saying like, what do I need today, is it's not me um, coming up with some timeline, excuse me, daily timeline that I'm going to force myself to stick to. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's the most basic thing. Do I need to rest or do I need to push? Do I need to rest or do I need to find another level of excellence within me? Right? What do I need from today? And it's about really addressing where your emotions are at, where your ego is, what your wounds are presenting as that day. Are you aware that your wounds go through different phases and stages of healing or reversion, where it's reverting back to whatever injury it was before you began some of that healing? Every day that condition changes, and every day you ignore the current state of your wounds, you really set yourself up for this feeling of you're headed nowhere. You're worth nothing. So, for example, I've been working on my health for like actively, intensely focused on correcting my health, maybe about 3 months, right? Where I'm like, okay, I know my hormone levels are off. There's something's wrong with my body. I haven't been in this shape ever, where it's a horrible health shape. And not just the aesthetics. I'm talking about I felt sick all day, every day. I looked sick and I felt sick. And finally, I got tired of feeling that way and I made a decision. I'm going to be working on loving myself in a way that returns my health back to that baseline. And that's what I've been working on. At first, I was working on it because I was frustrated, disappointed, and all of these negative emotions. And then it became this thing of, why am I punishing myself for having gotten to a space of sickness? So then I shifted everything I was doing. Now it's like, okay, I will not work out more than 3 days a week. And that's been for the past couple of months already, maybe 2 months or so. I will not work out more than 3 days a week because you know what? My ass is getting older and I just can't fuck with myself like that no more. I can't. I'm not going to punish myself. I refuse. I'm not going to punish myself anymore. What I'm going to do is listen to my body. If I'm feeling lazy, that's one thing. Push through, girlfriend, push through. Lift heavy. Lift heavy, not because you need to be punished, but because you need to burn up the frustration and the bad thoughts you're having about yourself this morning. Days where my body feels tired. Okay, girlfriend, I think we're done. We're not going through the whole list. We're not. That's a long ass list. We're stopping right here. We're tired. It's time to go home. Really differentiating between that space of self-love and self-hatred. It's a very blurred, very feathered, very thin, fine line between self-love and self-hatred. If you're highly intellectual, chances are you can intellectualize your punishment of self in order to justify the continuation of your self-punishment. If you want everything you've done to lead you somewhere magical AF, you need to begin figuring out the difference between the two. You need to begin operating in a space of stability, in a space where you can understand, like, okay, I'm not in a good place today. I need to be more mindful of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Not just I need to do it because it's part of the plan for today. No. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. There's been a few times where it's like I drag my husband out of the house and I'm like, fine, I will work out alone. And since that guy at the gym, he's like, no, you're not. I'm going with you. And so I'll drag him out. He doesn't want to work out, but he has to go with me. And then we get there, and as we're walking to the door of the gym, I'm like, hey, you want to go get some Korean barbecue? And we go. We don't go after we work out. Like, we turn back around before we even get into the gym, and we go because that day I need a little bit of edible love. I don't need to go to the gym. I need to nourish myself in some way because I know I'm someone who continuously pushes myself. So if I'm not wanting to go, I'm probably going to injure myself if I force myself to work out because I'm not mentally there to do it. How many times have you forced yourself into a process that you weren't mentally present enough to successfully complete, to safely complete? And this is why oftentimes we become injured by our interactions with others because we're not mentally present enough to have that exchange, that interaction, whatever it is. We're not mentally there enough that day. And instead of taking care of ourselves and allowing ourselves to ripen and mature so that we can enter in that space as a magical being, instead we're forcing ourselves, right? And it's hard because if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you don't really get those options, do you? You have to show up. So what's the solution? Figure out what you love and monetize it. I'm absolutely serious. Figure out what you love and monetize it. Work for yourself so that all of the ways in which your job punishes you will also benefit you. Work for yourself. Start a company. Start something. Start something. Start somewhere. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of inventory. And this is like a consistent encouragement coming from soul over the past few weeks. I don't know what's going to happen in the world. I just know that if you want to get through this period in the way that you can, you have to find a way to monetize what you love. You like talking shit? I was thinking of starting a service line. You can call me. I don't know. I think I'm easing myself into a dominatrix life. I'm not sure. You can call me. I will talk shit to you for 5 minutes. I promise you, I'll make you cry in that 5 minutes. $20. I'm saying. I make you cry. $20. 5 minutes on the phone. No bad words. You want that? I got it. But I'm joking. I would probably cry if I made you cry. People are like, Emmy's badass. No, I'm sensitive as fuck. Who told you I was badass? They lied. I'm sensitive. I'm already injured. That's why I claw back now. But that's the thing. Like, monetize what you love. Monetize it. Find a way. It's not going to be the same thing for everyone because not everyone has the same interests. So no, I can't tell you how. I could tell you how if you tell me what you like to do. You want to hear something interesting? Maybe that can be a service where, so part of my abilities is that I can follow strings stemming from various decisions that you make and options that you select. And maybe it can be some type of intuitive business consultation. I'm not going to give you full on business advice because I'm not a business advisor. But if you want to approach your business from an intuition aspect, I mean, I could definitely help you to see what your higher self is trying to push you forward through. How do you think I got to where I'm at? Because I could see what decision leads where. I haven't made a business misstep. If I really want something, I absolutely can get it. Because I see exactly, my soul's like, you want that? You take this step. You go this direction and you make a right over there. You go down the road for a little bit and then you make a left and it's right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe that's something that, we can do and I can offer. Who knows? We'll see. All I know is I really want to reach this space where pretty much all of you that's part of this community, our community, us, I want us to all be in a space of thriving. Fudge what they say about the economy and this and that. Like, fudge that. We don't participate in that, right? Like, I want us all to be in a space of thriving where you are thriving so beautifully in your life. You feel so confident in your magic that you're like, oh, yeah, no, I help that person too. That'll come right in. Every time, and this is how my life works, okay? I'm not tripping about nothing, not because I'm rich. I'm not rich. It's because whenever I give, even if it's difficult for me to give, and don't apply this to your life if you're not like me. So, that's a disclaimer. But whenever I give something, I receive that right back. And it's like, oh, okay, I won't be in deficit because I gave. So it's like whenever I'm at a spot where I'm approaching a space of deficit that I don't belong in, and I still go ahead and give. My higher self is like, break this girl off a little something, something. The levels are too low. Break this girl off a little something, something. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Not even joking. Not even joking, okay? You love to talk. Girl, you can turn that into something. You could turn that into something. You like to be a life coach. Okay. Do a lot of people go to you for advice? Do a lot of people value what you say? I'm a life coach. I don't present myself as a life coach, but I'm a life coach. I'm a life coach and spiritual counselor. I don't present myself as that. I don't use those labels, but that's my function. Those are things that you excel in. Why shouldn't that excellence help create magic in your life? A space of thriving in your life? And no, you don't need massive amounts of money to do these things. You don't. I started my corporation with a $30 prepaid cell phone. Ooh, Cricket really hated me because the amount of gigs I would run through daily. But I started my business with a $30 prepaid cell phone. You can scrounge up $30 in a month. That's $1 a day. You can make it happen. You can make it happen. I'm telling you, I'm someone who has made it happen repeatedly with minimal investment. And it's not that people are donating, because I've only begun donations. I've only begun that middle of 2022. So you can't tell me it can't be done. I have no business education. I have no business certifications. And yet here I am, doing what I do. Doing what I do. Okay? And what is it that I do? I'm just myself. That's it. What's my product? Myself. My time. My ability to see what's inside you. A version of you that has excellence written all over it. A version that you buried away because someone in your past was uncomfortable about how fantastic your potential is. See, that was me too. I buried all of this away because I made people feel uncomfortable because I'm not like other people. How did that serve me? It didn't. So, if you have the tenacity, the stamina to continue doing things that don't serve you and continue suffering and struggling through those things, I mean, could you imagine what the hell you can do when you find your groove and are doing the very thing you love the most? Oh, come on now. I'm saying, and I'm not even just saying nice things to hype you up. Like, that's literally the reality of things. That's literally the reality of things. That if you can do all of this that causes your suffering and your pain, and you're still continuing on, I mean, could you imagine if you take that leap of faith and invest in yourself? Imagine what you could do with your life. Imagine. Miss Sexy needs her groove back. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, yes, it is time. And I also think that recognizing that it's time is not enough. I think that once we begin to take stock of the ways in which we've already begun this process, because I promise you, you've already begun this process. We all began this process in 2020. Mhm. We all began this process in 2020. There were some hiccups, there were some snags, there were some setbacks, there were some frustrations, and all of the other stuff. But I believe we all began this process in 2020. And I believe if we allow ourselves to continue the process with our whole heart in it, I mean, do you know what happens? I'll show you. Hold on. So I began this process in 2020, right? Actually, 2019-ish. And then there were these disappointments, life happened, heartbreak happened, grief happened, multiple attempts to destroy me happened. So many different things. My body got poisoned in a very real way. And then finally, I decided something about 3 months ago. And again, 3 days a week, if that. Sometimes I miss several weeks at a time because my body needs to rest. But look, when you feel it's time and you actually take the action because you believe wholeheartedly that it is time and now you're committed to what time it is, you know what happens? Bada boom. Look at that. Girlfriend. Ooh, ooh. Is that some deltoids I see? Is that some biceps I see? Yes. You know, there. Good. It's not where it needs to be. It's not where I want it to be. But hey, guess what? I'm not done. I'm not done transforming myself. I'm not done transforming my body. I'm not done. I'm only getting started with what I know I need to do for me. Well, this is just the start. This is just the start. And people can have their opinions of like, well, that's not even a big deal, Emmy. Yeah, fuck you, first off. Fuck you. I'm almost mid 40s. Sit on it and spit. For me, that's a big deal. For me, that's a big deal because it's evidence of me actually investing in myself wholeheartedly with no doubt, no punishment, nothing but love. Okay, I'm saying everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical ASF. Magical. Are you ready to be magical? Are you ready? I'm at a space within myself where it's like, not only am I ready, I'm going to decide over the remainder of January if I can kickstart my process of rejuvenation through this month, which I think I will. I think I'm going to go ahead and make it a point to find a bikini figure competition and actually enter it. I think I'm going to actually do it. And if you guys don't know me, let me tell you, I won't do shit unless I know I can win. I was telling my girlfriend earlier, I was like, you really think I can do it? She's like, yeah. And I was like, but I don't want to just compete. I want to fucking win. I want first overall. Second is not enough for me. Like, that's bullshit. Because I'm not going to do that kind of transformation. That's hard. That's hard to be able to actually compete. That's fucking hard for that type of, no, that's hard, but I'm harder. So yeah, if I can keep my mind on the prize, which is what? Knowing that whatever I set my mind to is what I will achieve. And I won't just achieve it, I will achieve it to a degree of excellence that there is no one that can take even a step before me. Because I'm competitive. Yeah, no. If I do it, it's because I'm going to win. No, I've never competed before. No, I don't supplement. I don't do any of that. I feel like I have to know that I can reach that level of health, that level of transformation Because that's fucking magical. To be able to go from where I was just 3 months ago to that. And I have someone who absolutely knows how to churn out winners, women who become pros. Yeah. So everything we're doing, it's leading us to somewhere magical. Am I going to change my career and do that? No. I want to do one competition and I want to push it to the degree that I want to get my pro card that first competition if I do it. And be able to shove it in my brother's face. You know? But I think this time I'm going to be realistic about how quickly I can get there. Because a couple years back I spoke to him. He churns out winners. I come from a family of overachievers. He churns out winners. I'm talking about women who are invited to compete in Miss Olympia. If you're not into the bodybuilding scene, that's like, you can't sign up for that. You have to be invited. You have to have earned your pro card and be invited. So I want to be able to do what I know I can do in my heart. I want to be able to. I want to. The last time I spoke to him about it was a few years ago. And I was like, do you think I can do it in 3 months? He goes, no, you need at least a year. And I was like, I can do it in 6 months. He goes, yeah, you can do it in 6 months, but you need a year if you want to win. And I was like, well, fuck that. I don't have a year. I don't have a year to like commit to this. And now it's this thing where it's like, this is what keeps me healthy. I have minimal injury when I go in this way that I've been going. What have you been doing where it's like you're trying to force something in a way that's not in alignment with the way you need to experience it? Because you guys, I'm not here just telling stories about my life. Whenever I tell you a story about my life, I share a detail about my journey. My expectation is your understanding what I'm sharing is kind of like a parable. It's kind of like an analogy. And if you can figure out how what I'm saying applies to the journey, the portion of your journey you're on right now, you can learn from what I lived through without having to live through it yourself. Someone was like, I don't know if you're telling stories or doing a reading. Bitch, I'm doing both. Up your cognitive thinking skills, your executive functions. Up that, please. I'm not just telling stories, guys. My expectation of you is that you can tap into your own intelligence, think for yourself, and see how these things I share about myself and my life and my journey will help you to avoid the pitfalls of your own. Not because I'm better than you, but because why the fuck do we both have to go through that suffering if I already did it for both of us? Why would we both need to fall in the hole if your ass already heard? Like 4 feet down the street is a big ass hole that's been covered. Are you going to keep walking 4.5 feet forward? I just told you there's a fucking hole. But hey, you know, some people need to fall down the hole. I respect that decision. I'm just saying. You need to become more dedicated to your process. Figure out where you're at within your process because your process is causing a ripening. It's like when you put bananas, or not bananas, but avocados in a brown bag, and you close up the brown bag. It helps the avocados to ripen faster, right? But you can't do that indefinitely because of the fact that, guess what? that shit will rot real fast if you forget it in the bag. Okay? So that's the thing. You don't want to conceal the progress that you're making. You don't want to hide your progress from yourself. Like the picture that I showed you guys of my arms. Um yeah, I'm like just the other day really feeling like, yeah, I'm not even progressing in the way that I want. This is just kind of fucking bullshit at this point. Like I don't want to push myself harder. I'm going to injure myself if I do, but I want to see progress. And when you're continuously looking at yourself, I don't mean like staring at yourself all day. I mean you see yourself every day as you live the day. You're not going to be able to see the progress that someone who sees you once a week will see because you're seeing it. That's your norm. Progress happens in small increments. I don't know if we know this. Progress happens in small increments. When you shift 1 degree at a time, you're still shifting. And a lot of people make it their goal, like if they're into spirituality now, they weren't before. They're making it their goal to shift 180 degrees at a time. So you were on the wrong path and doing the wrong things, eating the wrong food, whatever it is. You're facing this way, right? Okay. Suddenly you come across teachings, you come across someone who inspires you to really commit to a spiritual life. And so boom, now you're 180. So that's what you've calibrated yourself to. 180-degree changes. Boom. So you experience a hiccup, a disappointment, whatever it is, you're going to shift again. Boom. You're right back where you started. What good did that do you? What good did that do you? Did that do you any good? You know, the increments that I use? 1 degree at a time, slow and steady. Ooh, that's okay. Keep going. Ooh, that's still okay. Keep going. I'm not going to go back to square one. Why? I don't need to. I don't need to do those jumps that take me so far from who I am. I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm trying to be more of who I am. Do you take all your clothes off at one time? Like you have all these layers, right? Do you take all your clothes off at one time, or do you like start with your jacket and then your sweatshirt, and now you just have your I wear hella clothes, y'all. And now so you have your long sleeve, a short sleeve, and then a tank top, or like are you taking it all off at once or what's up? Me, I'm taking one layer off at a time. I typically y'all think I'm joking? These are fleece lined sweats. Okay, fleece lined sweats. Hold on. I pulled it too hard. So right now I'm wearing 3 layers of pants. It's okay. It's okay. You have to take off 1 layer of disbelief at a time. As you begin to be warmed up by your truth, by your soul, by your love for yourself, your genuine love for yourself, you'll begin to get warmer and warmer, and you can begin taking off layer after layer after layer until you're at a comfortable space. It's very easy to do that. It takes a lot of patience, but it's a lot easier to do that. I used to take off all these layers at one time and then I would get stuck. I would get stuck. It would be like it's all bunched up. It won't come off my hand. And now it's like a big ass Chinese finger finger cuffs. I can't take it off. And then I have to scream for my husband because now I'm stuck. So I learned to take off one layer at a time. And that's what I applied to my journey, taking off one layer at a time, allowing myself to get comfortable with who I am, where I am in that particular moment. Secret. There's something you're trying to keep secret, right? What is it? That you're amazing? Dear covertly amazing people, you suck at keeping that secret. Just give it up. You think you're hiding how amazing you are, but the reality is there are many people in this world that have already seen the greatness that you are, the kindness, the grace, the compassion. Just be you. Just be you. There will be people who will see that and they will think it's weakness, and then they'll learn, because just because someone thinks your grace, your compassion, your softness is weakness does not mean you can't teach a motherfucker the truth. I'm saying, I'm saying you can absolutely teach these mofos the reality. Like, no, you badass. Mm-hmm. You badass. It's okay. You can still be soft and badass. You can still be compassionate. You can have grace. You can have all of this. It's amazing. It's lovely. It's lovely. You could be all of that. Okay. You could be whatever you like. You could do whatever you like. Oh. Okay. This was in reverse. High Priestess of Earth. You are not allowing yourself to live at the level of your true capacity. Mm-hmm. You haven't been giving yourself permission to enter into this space of acknowledgement of the things you have already mastered, achieved, accomplished, all of that. Okay, okay, here we go. Oh, she's gonna be so mad at me. I love you. This woman right here. And yeah. Yeah, do you know how many degrees this woman has? How many college degrees she has earned? Do y'all realize how mother effing intelligent this woman is? Mm-hmm. She said, oh, snap. Mm-hmm. The degree of her professional accomplishments. Mm-hmm. Just like she barely acknowledges it. I'm about to get her a shirt with all of her degrees and titles. Like, I'm saying, seeing how much she's accomplished for herself. Like, if I wasn't um, so certain because of my life experiences that I'm not intended to have a college degree. I mean, just looking at her accomplishments was enough to inspire me to consider looking at finishing off my credits and earning a degree. It's like if we share more of the things we've accomplished, not in a braggadocious way, but just the sharing, right? Just the sharing, because that's not easy. That is not easy to accomplish the things that she's accomplished. That is not easy. Uh-uh. That's not easy as a married person with a supportive partner. That's not easy as a single parent. That's not easy as a single person with no children. That's not easy. It is not easy to commit to one degree being earned, much less multiple degrees being earned. I bet she's certified in shit too. I'm telling you. You're certified in stuff too, aren't you? You did continuing education and you got certifications and different things. I bet you she has, and she just didn't want to tell me because she's like, Emmy doesn't believe in college. I bet you she has. I bet you. Mm-hmm. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Let us know, girl. Yeah, I knew it. um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We've allowed ourselves to become so convinced that no one should know the amazing things we've accomplished because, you know, people will think we're bragging, people will think we're trying to say we're better than, and let those people have their issues on their own. Don't try and save them from that. I'm going to send you something that I started to send you a few weeks ago but decided against it. Send it. Send it. So, to people who are like Inyaya, who think that hiding of your accomplishments and, playing smaller than what you actually are will help others. The ones who have the least sense of self-worth are listening. They're watching you. They're watching you and you're teaching them how to love themselves. Sometimes we don't realize that people have come to look at us with awe and inspiration, and it's more than just respect. It's kind of like this thing of, man, you really inspire me. Man, you are like, wow, I want to be like you. Like, I want to accomplish to the degree that you've accomplished. Like, I love the way you think and all of these different things. And we probably don't even know that. We probably don't even know that that's how we're being seen. Can you imagine using Anyaya again as an example? Using Inyaya as an example, how many of you have come to more than just respect her presence? How many of you feel inspired by her? How many of you feel like, wow, maybe I can finish whatever it is I'm trying to do? Like, there's something she said during one of our podcasts, and it's caused me to really just reassess and be like, you know what? I might be able to do what I was thinking I want to do. And hearing how much she's accomplished for herself, and she's just as hyper independent as I am. Miss, no, it's okay. I could do it. Like, no, homie. No. No, it's going to have to be a team effort. Like, nope. 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 No. She's totally like, oh no, I could totally set up the event myself. Mind you, this may be like, I want to say about 200, 250 pounds of equipment that are in bins that need to be rolled in. Right? Now she's like, she's going to carry the bins in by herself, one at a time. I'm like, girl, no, we got to set this up as a team. Right? And she is able to achieve all of this that she's achieved. I'm sure she's achieved it without letting anyone help her. I'm sure of it. It's written all over you, girl. It's written all over you, So it's this thing of, imagine if people knew your story and what you've been through, and that knowledge, that knowing of you and the person you are after having all of these different challenges and struggles that you've overcome. You're not braggadocious. You're not bitter. You're still loving. You're still gracious, compassionate. Like, wow. Wow. Could you imagine how that could affect the people who you've already touched? Okay. You need to let go of the ways in which you have been using your passion in an upside down way. Sometimes when we allow our passion to go upside down, what we've done is we've allowed the negative emotions to become the dominant feelings, right? The dominant feelings. I heard that Michael says you're next for the blast out. Yeah, Michael and Marlene, they can go ahead, snitch whatever they want. They can do whatever they like. Yeah. Yeah, no, go ahead, Marlene. You do whatever you want, girlfriend. I don't listen to half the things you say anyway. Say whatever you want. If they can hear you without me reiterating it, by all means, let them. Team no fear. So, chaos. A lot of our learning as individuals, a lot of the progression that we will go through to get us to that space of magical existence is absolute chaos. It is absolute chaos. I feel this like it's like an upswelling. It's like the very thing that either I or we have been waiting on as a community, as individuals. Um, it's like the finishing touches are being placed upon it and it's being wrapped up with a bow and everything. And it's like it's about to be delivered to you. Do y'all feel that? I feel that in my high stomach, in my chest, in my high heart. It's something. Do y'all feel that? I can't be the only one. Is it indigestion? I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling something. It's increasing. The sensation is increasing for sure. It feels like there is a grand opening. Maybe. You know, it feels like I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know what it is because even with the amount of progress that I've made in my understanding and acceptance and compliance with soul, it's still hard for me to believe um, that some of the things that I have been shown and promised um, to happen will actually happen. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. High Priestess of Spirit in reverse. This is tapping into that struggle to believe that you could potentially be entering into a high priestess state. Not even a high priestess of earth. You're entering into a high priestess of spirit, right? Maybe the reason high priestess of earth was in reverse is because you're letting go of this need to enter into a space of acknowledged mastery over earthly matters, that you're now being upgraded to the degree that you're strictly dealing with soul-based things, soul purpose, you know? As you correct that erroneous and distorted feeling that you're not worthy of whatever this magical thing that's coming forward. Yeah, no, these are cycles in reverse. This is uh, a distorted assumption that you don't belong. That is going to be corrected. It's going to absolutely be corrected. It needs to be. It needs to be corrected, and it will be. And I think you need to simply focus on allowing it, you know, like really, really allowing. So let's see. Do, 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 do. Yes, I like that. I like that too. Keep going. It's making me feel good. Yes, yes, more, a little bit more. Bitches, these last four need to be set aside. Okay, I'm joking. Uh, kind of. So here, abundance. It's coming. It's coming. Whatever it is that you've been waiting for, whatever defining moment that you have been craving, this defining moment that will finally prove to you the goodness you deserve and all of these amazing things. It's coming. It's coming. It's on its way. I'm going to do an activation as soon as I complete this reading. I need to do an activation for that abundance to come in. Even the attempts at dark interference, it's not working anymore because you're so focused on something that's not yet tangible for you. It's a really good thing too, but you can't quite see or feel it, if that makes sense, right? Um, it's something good. That's the deep sense that I get in my heart. It's something good. It might not present as something good at first because your mindset, your perception, it's still calibrated to survive this matrix. And whatever this is, whatever this event is, um, once you are able to recalibrate your perception to what it needs to be, to what it should be, you're going to begin to see, like, oh my God, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. You know why I speak so fondly of the period where I was transient and homeless? Do you know why? Because that was my moment. That was the moment where something that traditionally, if you are still in the mindset of surviving the matrix, um, that traditional mindset would identify that experience as catastrophic, destructive, catastrophic, a failure, like so many different negative things. But instead of experiencing it as that, it's almost like I was fairly quickly shifted into a mindset of thriving. And that's the very thing that resulted in me being publicly visible. That's the very thing. That's why I began to live stream, not to monetize the live streams, because I didn't think anyone would value anything I have to say. Um, but just that my soul had been telling me that my mindset, the way I see life, the way I see the world, it needs to be experienced by other people, just witnessed, and to free them to decide what to do with that, how to apply it to their life. And that all I had to do was simply talk and be witnessed, allow permission for that to happen. And it's really like this thing of, when I first began doing that, it was scary for me. It was absolutely scary for me. I am an introvert at heart. Like, yo, do you know how hard that was? That was so hard. And what ended up happening was I was able to overcome my fear of being heard. And whatever happened, here I am talking openly, fearlessly, truthfully, authentically, and allowing life to just unfold in whatever way it's going to unfold. You know, I do the things that I do within my business, within my company, within my live streams, without any real pre-planning of how it's going to unfold and what's going to be the outcome. And it's just is going to be what it's going to be. It is what it is, and it is what it is, and that's that. And if I didn't like something about how it unfolded, then I need to think about how I'm going to recalibrate myself to not experience that again. Like today, or actually yesterday, um it's kind of entering into a space of, I'm not liking how fucking petty I'm becoming again. Like, people be having energies that just irritate the shit out of me, and I'd be taking pock shots. Shots fired, pew pew. And it's like, girl, don't fucking do that to people. Let them be irritating. It's not all of you, let me tell y'all. It's not all of you, but I'm pretty sure most of you could have a good idea of like when I get irritated by someone's energy, because I don't hide it. Yeah, I'm an authentic person and I shouldn't hide that, but I also shouldn't use the fact that I can get in some really fucked up comments. You won't even realize I said a very derogatory thing to you. Yeah. That's not okay. Like I tell my kids, you cannot use your elevations and intelligence to fucking target people. But in my defense, in my defense, some of these things are the motherfucker's been irritating me for a few months already. I just couldn't take it no more. I'm not justifying my behavior, but I'm saying there's a different way that I want to be, a different way that's still within my authentic space, right? I don't have to be a mirror of the very thing I don't like. I need to overcome that ease, that comfort that I feel by simply reflecting the person's petty ass behavior. Like, no, if I'm going to be a template that other people use to begin really cultivating their truth, their authenticity, their soul purpose, no, I need to make a conscious decision to not be in that space of like, all right, let's go. I cannot, don't do that. Yes, you're capable, but just because you can doesn't mean you should, and I've been having this conversation with myself all night last night. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm sure you're irritating to other people too, Emmy. I had to remind myself, like, girl, mm, don't do that. I had to overcome it. I had to exit out of that space of shadow. I had to do some shadow work. When I enter into too far into my shadow space, I get too comfortable throwing back the petty at people. Like that dude where I said he had a small pee. I could have just removed him. I didn't have to do all that. It was fun doing that, but I didn't have to. I didn't have to. So that's the thing. What have you been using as a crutch? What have you been too comfortable reverting back into that has prevented you from moving forward? Because if you're reverting, then obviously you're not moving forward, right? You're going in the opposite direction of the direction you want to go. So it's not that you never can have moments where you feel the pettiness and you kind of act upon it a little bit. It's that is that pettiness, is that behavior that you're reverting back to serving what you're trying to accomplish? Because if it's not, then you kind of got to let that go, right? So as I pulled myself back, as I reverted, because the past several live streams I've been petty. I've been trying to maintain my petty, and then someone volunteers to receive the petty. I'm like, oh, thank you. All right, let me package it up for you. Stop it. It was a soft slap. It wasn't hard. It hasn't helped me to move forward, but all of that backwards movement, as soon as I let go, it shoots me forward. It launches me into this space of recognition of the different things that I'm in the process of calibrating right now. You're not expected to be perfect and know everything. You're not. But you are expected to be aware of where you're at, the process you're in, and how it's affecting your journey and what you want to achieve. That's all. Just an awareness. Okay. Awaken gnosis. This has to do with your lack of knowledge of the process that you're in. Do you really not know the process you're in, or have you begun to feel where you're at, and it's intimidated you, it's scared you, whatever it is. And so you've chosen to no longer look because it's like, well, I'm scared. I do that too. It's not a bad thing. It's not a helpful thing, but I do that too. So I get it. So as I've done that in the past, I mean, has it benefited me? Eventually, yes. That's the truth. Eventually, yes. I say eventually, yes, because first I end up suffering and struggling and losing a lot of the progression that I've made, and entering into a space where I'm really effing pissed off at myself. And then, sometimes I'll lash out because, I suck at self-regulation as a Pisces with ADHD. I suck at it sometimes. And so then it becomes a really ugly cycle. And it takes so much effort to get out of that cycle and not enter into full-on clinical depression. And so, eventually I do learn tremendously from it. But until I get to that place where I'm done fighting with myself, I mean, I get real close to being like full on clinically depressed. Well, before. Not so much now. Because I can more readily like see like, girl, knock your shit off. Stop it. I don't wait until I'm neck deep in that cycle, and then it becomes so much harder. It's like swimming in tar. Are you kidding me? It's that's not gonna work, right? So what's better? Placing one foot in tar up to your ankle and realizing, stopping the walking, looking down and realizing, oh shit, it's tar. Or stepping in that tar, feeling the warmth, and you're like, oh shit, I think I'm in tar. And continuing forward until you're about neck deep, and now you can smell this is legit tar. And now you're like, oh no, oh no, what am I going to do? The sooner you halt the malignant tendencies you have towards yourself, the easier it is to correct, the easier it is to completely stop that and not even enter into it, right? So here goes. Receiving seed, y'all. Let yourself receive. Let yourself take in. Okay. Let yourself have permission from yourself to receive the gifts that your soul is giving you. I feel like for many of us, we're going to be receiving some amazing things very soon. And y'all know, especially in the past couple of weeks, it's just been negativity. Okay, let me explain something. Part of the reason I entered into such a petty mindset is because like all the fucking readings are so negative. It's like one thing after another. Like, what the fuck? And then I was just like, well, then fuck it. I'll be negative too. That's why I'm very careful of who I interact with, um, repeatedly, because I take in frequencies very easily. And yeah, no, I took that in. I didn't even realize that I was taking it in. And next thing you know, it's affected my attitude. I mean, I still chose to allow myself to have an ugly attitude. I'm still responsible for that. I still have to own that. But I recognize that's what started it. This feeling of being disappointed because I want goodness for you guys. And it's nonstop like, oh, someone's now trying to curse you. Oh, you got a fucking crazy person. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is going to fail too. And that sucks. And life sucks. And that's how the readings have gone. And I'm like, that fucking sucks. This whole thing sucks. This is bullshit. And now I'm like, no, no. Girl, how did you forget what you've always told yourself? Is it because it doesn't directly apply to you that you seem to have forgotten what your mantra is for life? That when things get ugly, it's because something beautiful is being buried to be born. The seeds are being planted. The readings felt so dark, and I failed to realize we weren't being buried. We were simply being planted. And the seeds of abundance are about to grow. And yeah, it takes some tears for many of us, right? We have to water those seeds with our tears from disappointment, from this, from that. And, I don't know what happened this morning, but it's like, you know what? No, it's not negative. There's nothing, there's nothing to be irritated about or any of that. It's part of our process. We're in our process. We're going through the process, and, it's fine. It's fine because we get through the other side and we learn as we're traveling to that other side. So, okay. For some people, they have a very inverted belief about the twin ray healing. Okay. They don't want to see this for what it is. When that twin ray healing card comes up, it's about two components that create a totality that need to be recalibrated, realigned, rejuvenated, and then reconnected, right? So it might be your masculine side and your feminine side. It might be the different aspects of yourself. It's this very deep healing that's needing to happen. And our fear of entering into a space of totality, oneness, it's really distorting the process that we're in. For others of you, this twin ray healing is about repairing a broken connection with another person. Again, let's be careful about jumping to any conclusions about romance being involved or sexual encounters being involved. That's very, very contingent on everyone's unique circumstance. Okay. But really, the upside down nature of the way we see this very intense, very deep healing process, it's needing to be corrected. Okay. You don't need to be protected from this. This is not something you need protection from. This is something that you have to stop fighting. Marlene, how do you figure I'm not listening when the words are coming out of my mouth? I'm hearing it reverberate through my skull. How do you figure I'm not listening? This woman said, "Are you listening?" I'm gonna take all my vitamins, all my oils, and because you irritated me. Anyways, soul separation. Are you listening, Marlene? Because sometimes you need to separate yourself from me. I'm saying. No, I'm joking. Kind of. Soul separation. I think part of the distortion that's occurring for you is that a portion of your consciousness and your focus is still on this place of separation where you were separated from an expectation, some type of expected outcome. And that disappointment really affected you. So I think for some of us, it might have to do, obviously, with a person. But I think for others of us, those who are operating on a very high degree of of soul purpose, a very high level of dimensional consciousness, like you're anchored very high. I think that separation is the pain that you feel as you further cultivate an awareness, an expanded awareness of how you were separated from your soul. You're still connected to your soul, but you are now a separate, individuated identity from the soul. And so, it's this thing of an awareness that's developing of almost like how I wouldn't be surprised if the people who I'm talking about with this like elevated blah blah blah, um, where you feel like you don't belong here, or you feel very uncomfortable living a human experience, but you still do it, right? You still do it. You still have that human experience, and it's difficult for you to understand other people. It's difficult to understand social cues. Um, it's a struggle to operate within societal parameters of what is acceptable and what is not. Um, and as you do that, a lot of these people who function at that high of a frequency, you're aware to a certain degree that you're a visitor. You're a galactic refugee. That's how I identify. Okay. I identify as a galactic refugee. And that's the thing. It's like that awareness, and you don't have enough memories that are accessible in this lifetime to remember where you come from and where you're going to go back to when you're done with whatever you're here to do. And so it creates a sense of such an aloneness, like you are an island unto yourself, this loneliness, this pain. You're not the only weird one here. You're not the only weird one here. Like, you know, be part of the community. We're all weird here in the best way possible. Okay? You're not alone. You're not the only one that feels that way. There are many, many, many of us who feel the exact same way. And we feel less and less like that because, again, we've created an entire community, an online community where we can be very loving towards each other, very supportive. If you notice, there's no competition in the comments. When someone shares something, especially if it's something difficult, something that creates a sense of vulnerability, so many of you are quick to encourage, to support, to really comfort, like, it's okay. You're welcome here. You're okay. We support you. Do you want my email so that, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, that soul separation, if you feel that, okay, if you feel that, maybe this is the indication that your transformation is the very thing that's going to reignite your dying ember, right? That faded light that lives inside you because you've become so worn out being the most sensitive in your environment. You're highly susceptible to other people's moods, to other people's expectations and desires of your failure. You're suffering and you're struggling. And maybe you're at a point you don't know why people feel this way about you. Like, you don't mess with anyone else. You don't hurt people. You don't do people dirty. Like, people don't need a reason to be who they are. And no matter how hard you try, once they've selected you to be the person they're going to fixate on with all of their disappointments in life, then that's what they're going to do. So, what you're going to need to do is no longer make that your priority. Some people need to know their proper place in your life is to not be in your life. It's not for me to tell you who that is and who needs to be pushed out, who needs to be brought in closer. It's for you to hear what I'm saying and begin thinking for yourself, like, is she talking about so and so? Like, because I've been feeling that, and I probably am talking about that person. I don't know who so and so is, but I probably am, because why did your mind go there? Everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical. And sometimes we have to remember these very powerful words that were said by Chris Brown. How are you going to hate from the outside of the club when you can't even get in? Don't let them in. Don't let them in, because how are they going to talk shit about you and you actually believe the shit they're talking if they don't even know what's going on inside? Okay? Burp, burp. Yellow model chick, yellow bottle sipping, yellow Lamborghini, yellow top missing. I'm saying, you can't take those type of people too seriously. They have a proper place in your life, and that place is nothing more than a placeholder for you to re-enter into your sovereignty. See, when someone sits on your sovereign throne, they are not there because they are your sovereign. They are not your ruler or an authority figure over you. They are there merely as a placeholder. They are a living seat warmer. I tell you, someone want to sit on my throne, I will walk right up to you and be like, be gone, seat warmer. My ass is ready for the warmth. I'm saying. Float around and find out. You don't know that song? Oh my gosh. I don't know the name of it either. Yellow model chick, yellow bottle sipping, yellow Lamborghini, yellow top missing. What? That shit looks like a toupee. Okay. It's a good song. It's a good song. Anything with Wheezy tends to be a good song. I'm just saying. Be fearless. What I feel this means is to allow your courage to be more than your fear, to allow your fear to be less than your courage. You don't have to be completely devoid of fear. You just have to have less fear than you do courage. And then you'll be able to do what badasses do. Worlds within worlds, right? Worlds within worlds. And it's in reverse. The spheres will collide, convergence will occur, totality will be reestablished within a singularity known as a matrix. Sacred journey in reverse. Far too much, so many of us slap sacred in front of something and we think that suddenly it becomes sacred. That's a lie. The only things that are sacred in life are the things that you feel deeply inside you. Is a church sacred? It's a building. It's a building. However, when you look at the church inside yourself, this sacred space known as a temple, the space where your soul lives, that's sacred. When you can enter into a building and feel the sacredness, the elevations of the holiness of that space, because it reconnects you with your own internal holiness. It's like entering into this building is the equivalent of you entering into your sacred throne room within yourself. That's sacred. If you want to call that a church, if you want to call that a temple, if you want to call that a mosque, by all means, call it whatever you want, but that's sacred. We need to begin returning the concept of sacredness back to where it belongs. We have to really allow ourselves to understand where we are. This commonly taught spiritual practice of, you have to declare it. Declare what? Well, you have to declare it and then it becomes sacred and then like it has to happen. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's no magic behind that declaration. So it doesn't mean anything. There's no reverence. You notice society, American society, United States society, has lost their reverence for the Constitution. It's no longer sacred, so it's no longer upheld. So many of our civil liberties have been stripped. Who's doing anything about it? Same thing with your own spiritual journey. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You'll have people who will seek to convince you. It's not the same thing. Yeah, it is. You can't say what you want anymore. You can't speak openly. You have no freedom of speech. And there is a created cancel culture. Communities of people who look for others to hate. For what? For what? Because what? Because why? Your journey is sacred when you make it sacred. And it's unfortunate, but the reality is for many people, their journey has lost its sacredness. Why? Because we've allowed people who don't know any better to convince us that they do. That's why. I say I'm mean to that, amen, raw. I'm mean to that. I'm serious. Look at this. Tell me where he lied. We've allowed so much to be done, not just, in an emotional, spiritual way, but in all aspects of society. Do you know in 1912, 1920-ish, somewhere around there, they went ahead and they converted the food supply for livestock. They converted it from hemp to the subsidized corn. Since the 1920s, our livestock has been malnourished, and therefore we have as well. They made hemp illegal. Why? I don't know. We're too healthy. That's why. Did you know modern day hospitals really were not a thing until I think it was like 1950s, 1960s is when they, and don't quote me on dates because dyslexia. I think it was around 1950s, 1960s when modern hospital stuff like became a thing where you would go to an actual hospital. That wasn't a common thing. It wasn't a common thing. A lot of the things that we've accepted as commonplace were not commonplace back then. And a lot of things that we accept as commonplace now are the very things that degrade our magic, that degrade our sense of self. You are obligated to yourself to undo the programs that you were raised to accept as truth. You have that obligation to yourself. Right? Exactly this. That's when modern day hospitals as we know it became a thing. That's one. Don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on that topic. I'm telling you. Maybe maybe we can talk about that in the soul sanctuary. If you guys want me to talk about that subject matter, I absolutely can in a private chat space. Okay. Uh-huh. This yup. This is how I know y'all are my people. This is how I know, you know? So, communication and self worth. There is someone who is struggling to communicate and connect with you because of their distortions in their self worth. Part of how you're going to correct this is to be still. Don't create waves where no waves should exist. Ooh, that was from Marlene. Ma'am, you realize you're speaking to living chaos, right? Do you recognize I am living chaos? Are you unaware? I am the breath of fire. Do not make waves or waves should not exist. Honey, I'm chaos. I don't make waves. I birth tsunamis. Anywho, okay. So, for some of you, part of what's blocking this magical something from arriving is that you have really, really stalled the moment of awareness of who it is that lacks integrity, that is actively blocking your progression. There is someone who is blocking the way for you to move forward. There's someone who probably has access to you, talks to you often. Um, Marlene's like, okay, so it's someone in your life. This is not a stranger. This is someone that you know. This is someone who, again, their words carry a lot of weight for you. And I think this is someone you've known for some time because it's like this sense that this person has become so accustomed to irresponsibly wielding this influence over you. They're very accustomed to getting what they want. And I think for much of that, you don't even realize that they're doing this because it's this thing, it's a very manipulative person, very manipulative. What they do is they overly take care of you, right? They probably do a lot of like nurturing type things where maybe they get you little gifts. They have all of this like really supportive stuff to say, whether they believe it or not. They speak very softly to you most times, as long as you're doing what they want. They maybe like to take you out to love bombing. There you go. I couldn't remember the word. Love bombing. They love bomb you. And as they love bomb you, they then will withhold that and be like, well, you're being mean. I mean, despite the fact that they've just absolutely decimated your perception of yourself, right? I just I love you. And that's why I'm telling you no one else will be honest with you like this. Lying asshole. Are you gonna choose to be a mirror right now, Emmy? No? Okay, good. We don't call other people hoes. It's okay to call her a liar though. Someone's being a liar to you. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Get this fire extinguisher. They're burning their cooch. Someone just is love bombing the hell out of you. They're the very thing that's blocking you from moving forward. It's up to you if you want to keep that in your life, but just know the guilt that you feel, the loyalty that you feel is a manipulation. It's not genuine loyalty. It's a manipulation. You've been bought and paid for. See, if your loyalty has been bought and paid for, it's not loyalty. It's a trauma bond. They prevent you from walking your truth. See, that's their hand on your chest, pushing you back. And they're probably like, you're like, why do you have your hand on my chest? And they're like, oh, I don't want you to fall forward. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, there's no celestial teacher that's coming forward. You're going to learn all of this within your shadow aspects. Okay. This has to erupt from your shadow self, this awareness. I think for whoever that portion of this reading is for, you're already aware. You just have been feeling like, oh my God, why am I so mean? They're so nice. Why do I think this? I'm such a mean person. You're not mean. I promise you. Mean people don't think about how they're mean. Let me tell you. I can be a mean ass person. I'm usually not. But if you really inspire me to be with your actions directed at me or towards someone I love, I mean, the level of mean that I can reach is fucking impressive sometimes. And when I'm in that mean space, I'm not worried about being mean. I'm like, fuck yeah. Right? But I'm typically not a mean person. So unless I'm in that mean space, I'm always wondering, like, oh my God, was that mean? Should I have said that? I hope I didn't hurt their feelings. So when you consistently find yourself wondering if you're being mean and why you're like that, there's a high probability that you're actually not a mean person and that you've been programmed by years of poor treatment to believe that you are the problem. The only reason you would be the problem is that you're making it hard for them to better control you. Right? That's why you're the problem. I used to have relatives who would say that I was such a problem. Yeah, because I won't listen to them. You can't control me. Unless it resonates with me, I'm not doing shit. No, and I'm not going to be quiet either. You want to involve me in stuff and expect me to be quiet with that? I'm not going to be quiet. Are you kidding me? I'm going to make it a whole fucking show. No, I'm not. I'm not always like that. Like, you really have to take me to a whole nother level of like, now I want to make your life a living hell. That's very hard to do. I'm usually gone before you get anywhere near halfway. I'm just like, I'm good. You're crazy. I'm good. Yeah. So, intuition, allowing your intuition to be the very thing that helps to guide you through this process, because it feels like it's going to be a process, a full on process of you liberating yourself from the very thing that's prevented you from reaching that magical space that you're going towards. Right? And then, of course, mirrored souls. This came up in reverse. Whoever this is that's preventing you, they're pretending, they're feigning reciprocal reflection. They're not a mirrored soul. If you're in some type of intense connection or relationship, and that's what it's about for you, I think this is a karmic tie. I think this is someone who's karmic for you. And I don't know. Have you had enough yet? Because if you've had enough, then have enough. Don't allow any more. I mean, that's all I can think of. If you've had enough, then actually make it clear that you've had enough. I think it's important to kind of point out that for some of you who are experiencing this with someone else, I wouldn't necessarily say the person that you're with is evil. I would say that they have a lot of perception issues that probably stem from childhood. Maybe they're an only child. Maybe they're super spoiled. Maybe they had a super toxic parent or childhood environment that caused them to really like take in some ugliness. And that still doesn't change the fact that you don't deserve that. You don't have to be the asshole whisperer. You don't. That's a position that people must volunteer for. They can't just assign you to be the asshole whisperer, right? Most assholish people, they take one look at me and they're like, ugh, I don't like her. And they leave me alone. Why? Because baby boo. We'll go toe to toe. I have 10 of them. I got big ass feet. I promise you, I will excel in that task. So they don't bother, you know, they don't bother with inviting me to join the foolery that they're creating. It's like people know who they can get away with shit with and who they can't. There will be some who are like intellectually deficient. I truly mean that. There will be those who are intellectually deficient, and they'll think that because of stereotypes that like, oh, she's Asian, she must be docile. They'll think that they can do that shit. All you got to do is watch me for like 5-10 minutes. You already know. Nope. I'm the wrong one on the right day. Oh, yes. You know, so you have to get to a point where you really give yourself permission to let go of all the excuses that keep you where you are. You know, you got to let go of that. You got to let go of all of the excuses you say about the person who's hurting you the most, about the ways in which you allow it, about the ways in which you convince yourself there's nothing else for you. There is so much for you. And I don't know if this will be a consolation to some people. Sometimes people won't grow until you are absent. If you're worried about them not growing because you've left, well, sometimes you're the reason they don't grow because you enable their behaviors. So if that painfully resonates, then maybe it's time to take a step back. Maybe it's time to take a step back. And for some, not a lot, unfortunately, not a lot, okay? But for some, as you step back, that space that's created becomes filled with their desire to grow. And they begin to grow. And for some, that growth will create a space for a friendship to develop. And for an even smaller sum, that friendship then circles back around to a full-blown romantic connection that lasts an entire lifetime. So some things are very cut and dry. Some things need to be cut in order to dry. Other things are rotten and need to just be tossed out. You have to figure out which one is your situation. I don't know all the answers. I won't even start to claim to know. You have to always be the one to decide for yourself in your life which direction you will go. Because guess what? You are the only one that will always be obligated to harvest the seeds that you've planted. So I got to get going because I got to get ready for class. And my husband's calling me out about not being ready for class. I do have class soon. I need to prepare everything. So if I do choose to make that intuitive business coaching thing an option, I'll definitely let you guys know. I'll let you guys know. I've actually helped quite a few people launch their businesses with intuitive guidance, and they've gone pretty far with it. They've gone pretty far. One person in particular, I was doing this for one of my guy friends, and he landed on Forbes. Yeah. When I was doing this for him at the very start, his credit cards were maxed out and he was unemployed. And then a few months later, he messaged me and was like, I was like, what? Are you okay? Are you okay? And then he sent me the links where he was featured on Forbes. He was featured on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all of those. He still had to work to earn that. He still did it himself. But there weren't many missteps. Because you best believe, if I can prevent it, I won't let you fall. But if you need to fall in order to remember how strong you are, I'll quietly watch. I won't interfere. My preference, you don't need to fall. You don't need to fall to know how strong and capable you are. You simply have to walk and observe yourself, witness yourself living your life. It's a beautiful thing. I can have a very good sense of what your higher self is wanting you to do in any industry. Any industry. The industry that my friend was or is in, I don't know anything about that industry. I don't know anything about that industry at all. At all. The other people that I've helped, I didn't know anything about those industries either. A couple of them have started 6-figure corporations. I'm not saying that everyone's going to have a 6-figure corporation. I am saying, though, that if you want it bad enough and have the drive, the determination, what the hell's going to stop you? The only thing that stops you is you. It's you. You're the reason you excel and you're the reason you fail. At the end of the day, it's always you. Be the reason you celebrate. To me, that's a simple, like, that's a no-brainer for me. Like, I'm now going to choose to be the reason I celebrate. And that's that. I'm not looking back unless I need to remember how far I've come. So everything you've done is leading you somewhere magical ASF. Okay? Magical ASF. Keep going. Create a happy life. Create the abundance you deserve. And then share it with us in this community. Let us know how well everything is going, how much you're accomplishing. See, I'm not the type to encourage you to excel and then expect you to never share it because why are you bragging? No. Come back here and be like, Emmy, guess what I did? I'm going to be like, what did you do? And then when you tell me, I'm going to be like, and genuinely mean it. Genuinely mean it. I want you to thrive. I want you to thrive. Guys, I got to go. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I will probably be doing expedites tomorrow. If I do, which I probably will, join me at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for some expeditious goodness. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Bye, everyone.